So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to lecture number 9 of history in this lecture series called Prelims Powerplay 2026. Through this lecture series, we will get to cover all our current affairs, subject-wise. So all current affairs, subject-wise, shall be covered through this lecture series. But that's not it. Along with your current affairs, we would also cover the associated static topics as well. We all know that static topics that have some connection with current affairs have a very high chance, very high probability of featuring in your prelims examination. Therefore, that won't be enough if you'll only cover current affairs. You have to also cover the associated static topics as well. Cover both current affairs and static topics. Well, this would be done through this lecture series. If you'll follow this lecture series and make it a part of your daily routine, you'll just have to spend 1 hour of your day every day from now till your prelims examination. But you will get to revise almost everything and you will have a very high chance of succeeding in your prelims examination. Therefore, make this lecture series a part of your daily routine. Now, this lecture series can help you a lot if you'll follow these 4 steps. Step number 1, watch the lectures on time. Don't keep them pending. Every day at 9 p.m. on YouTube, a lecture would drop. Watch it. Okay, don't keep lectures pending. Then step number 2, along with those lectures, we will give you notes. Well, those notes would contain some extra information and also the information discussed in the lecture. Memorize those notes. As soon as you watch the lecture, memorize the notes. Memorize the entire thing from the notes because all the important information is given in your notes. So don't forget to do that. Then you'll naturally have some doubts. So step number 3 is ask your doubts. We would be enrolling you in our WhatsApp groups that have been specifically created for your doubts. You can ask your doubt anytime and that would be entertained and solved. So ask your doubts. Don't be hesitant. Ask your doubts. And step number 4, very important. Well, you'll not just get this lecture series because along with this lecture series, you'll also get a test series, which will contain an exhaustive list of tests. You will practice a lot of tests. Be regular with those tests. Be regular. Follow these 4 steps to their very core, and you have a very high chance of succeeding in your prelims examination, provided you follow these 4 steps, 4 golden essential steps. Now, as far as the lectures are concerned, well, they would drop on YouTube, no problem with that. But for notes, for WhatsApp groups, and for the test series, you would have to register on our app or on our website. The registration links are given in the comment section below. So you can just click on that link and register for this lecture series. But if you are having any trouble with respect to registration, well, there is also a number. Just give us a WhatsApp on that number and we will guide you through the entire registration process. Okay, so start now, begin now. Don't keep your revision pending till March or April. You just have to spend 1 hour of your day and everything would be covered. So begin now with Prelims Powerplay lecture series. All right then, enough of the introduction. Let's straight away jump into the lecture. And our today's topic of discussion is the mighty Cholas. You see, the thing is that, well, Indian education system, especially history, has been criticized for long, especially the curriculum for history. In schools, okay, school curriculum of history has been criticized a lot. Medieval history in particular has been criticized a lot because the entire focus of medieval history was mostly on North India, and within North India also, it was Delhi-centric. We paid little attention to the regional kingdoms which have a rich legacy. Well, this realization came about in, 3-4 years back. And now government is taking active steps for basically letting everyone know the contributions of these regional kingdoms. And one such kingdom, the mighty kingdom, and we shouldn't call it a kingdom, it was an empire, was the imperial Cholas, the Chola Empire. Government is doing a lot to promote the legacy of Cholas. And because government is doing a lot, that is why there are high chances that questions can be asked from Chola Empire. Art and culture aspects, history aspects. Okay, so we need to pay some special attention on Chola Empire. That is why we are going to discuss the mighty Cholas. Everything you need to know about the Chola Empire, well, will be discussed in this lecture. Therefore, pay close attention, okay? Because I'm very sure they would definitely ask questions on Cholas, and your chances of solving those questions, marking them as correct, would be decided on the fact whether you have paid attention in this lecture or not. Okay, so pay close attention and let's begin. So history lecture number 9, the mighty Cholas. Okay, now before we start discussing Chola Empire, you need to know one thing about Cholas. Okay, well, the Chola rule can be divided into 2 parts. Okay, There were Chola chieftains, kings of sorts during the Sangam age. Okay, during Sangam age, there were Cholas also. Chola, Chira, Pandya. These were chieftains. We won't call them proper emperors, chieftains. Okay, they were during the Sangam age. So Cholas were there back then also. Now Sangam age is generally dated from 3rd century BC to 3rd century CE. Okay, so during this time, Chola Chira Pandyas were well dominant in their specific areas. But the reason why we still remember Cholas is because, well, the next set of Cholas, the next batch of Cholas came during the medieval period. These people are called imperial Cholas, okay, who established a vast empire, a vast empire. It was started by Vijayala Chola. We'll talk about him. This is when Cholas reached their zenith, okay. So imperial Cholas began in 9th century CE and were there till 12th or 13th century CE. Okay, these, well, information about the imperial Cholas is more important. Okay, so we'll be focusing on this. Well, the famous king of Sangame Chola was Karaikal Chola. Apart from that, not much is known about Cholas. But we have a lot of information about imperial Cholas. Okay, and questions would be asked from this phase only, the second phase of Cholas. Okay, all right. So the mighty Cholas, and which Cholas are we calling mighty? The imperial Cholas. This is not to say that, well, Sangame Cholas were not mighty, they were also great. But imperial Cholas were something else altogether. Okay. Now, the reason why we are discussing Cholas is because something happened in current affairs in the month of July 2025. What happened? Well, a visit by Prime Minister Modi in Brihadeswara temple at Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Okay. Now, what was this visit for? Let's talk about this. Why Cholas are in the news. So, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Brihadeswara temple in Gangaikonda Cholapuram, also known as Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple. Okay. Tamil Nadu on July 27, 2025. What was the purpose of his visit? Well, the visit was tied to the birth anniversary of Rajendra Chola, the first. Okay, some people say the greatest Chola king. Okay, he and his father Rajaraja Chola and Rajendra Chola. During their time, Chola Empire reached its zenith, peak. So, well, the visit was tied to the birth anniversary of Rajendra Chola, the first, and it also, the birthday of Rajendra Chola also coincides with Adi Tiruvitarai festival. Okay, Adi Tiruvitarai festival, we'll talk about this, but this very famous festival in Tamil Nadu, Adi Tiruvitarai, I may be pronouncing it incorrectly, but you understand my point. I'm making a very solid attempt. I'm trying to be as correct in pronunciation as possible, but please forgive me if the pronunciation is wrong. Okay, so Adi Tiruvitarai festival and, well, the birth anniversary of Rajendra Chola, they coincided. And basically, this festival is considered as a state festival of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu considers it as a state event. Now, Prime Minister Modi, well, went there to Tamil Nadu to celebrate this festival, number one, to celebrate the birth anniversary of Rajendra Chola. And this year, 2025, marks the 1000th year of Rajendra Chola's first naval expedition, where he conquered Indonesia, Indochina, Vietnam, and all these areas, Sri Lanka. Okay, so this marks his naval expeditions also. It is the 1000th year. So that is why 2025's Adi Tiruvitarai festival is special, and that's why PM Modi went there. So you understand the context. Okay, July 27 is a sacred festival, religious festival, also the birth anniversary of the greatest Chola ruler, also the 1000th year of his naval expedition. That is why, well, he released a commemorative coin to honor Emperor Rajendra Chola I. He was dressed in traditional Tamil attire. Okay, this is important for you to know the traditional Tamil attire because art and culture is also part of your syllabus. Okay, including a white veshti, dhoti, shirt, and angavastram, traditional wrap. Angavastram. Okay. Now, this Brihadeswara temple of Gangaikonda Cholapuram, okay, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is considered the pinnacle of Chola architecture. Okay, there is another Brihadeswara temple in Thanjavur. Okay, Thanjavur. Well, that is also there. Information regarding that will be given to you in your notes. But this is the Brihadeswara temple of Gangaikonda Cholapuram, also known as Gangaikonda Cholapuram Temple. Okay, so this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So this is there. All right. Now, before talking about the contributions made by the mighty imperial Cholas, first let's talk about this festival also because it is part of your art and culture syllabus. Adi Tiruvathirai festival. So this is basically a religious festival in Tamil Nadu. Remember this. Adi Tiruvathirai is a significant Hindu festival primarily celebrated in Tamil Nadu during the Tamil month of Adi. The Tamil calendar, okay, in that there is a month Adi, mid-July to mid-August, okay. In that month, Adi Tiruvathirai festival is celebrated on the day when the Tiruvathirai Ardhra star is in ascendance. So one particular star is moving upwards. So on that day, this festival is celebrated. So remember this, okay? All our calendars in India are basically they are in sync with celestial movements. Okay, so when the star starts moving upwards in sky, that is the day when Adi Tiruvathirai festival is celebrated. Okay, the festival honors Lord Shiva, so it is a Shaivite festival, particularly in his form as Nataraj. You all know the destructive dance of Shiva. Okay, the lord of cosmic dance, and is also the birth anniversary of great Chola Emperor Rajendra Chola. Okay, but this festival is for Lord Shiva, Nataraj. The festival is associated with the 63 Nainmars. Okay, you all know Nainmars were Shaivite Bhakti poets, saints. Okay, so Bhakti saints in South India were divided into two parts. For Shiva, there were Nainmars or Nainars, and for Vaishnavites or Vishnu, well, there were Alvars. So this is Nainmars festival, okay, Shiva festival, and highlighted the profound philosophical roots of Shaiva Siddhanta, Shaiva philosophical tradition. The 2025 festival was especially significant as it marked 1,000 years since Rajendra Chola I's legendary maritime expedition to Southeast Asia and the beginning of temples construction. The Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple started. So this is Rajendra Chola, as you can see, and this is the advertisement made by Ministry of Culture for this festival, celebrating birth anniversary of Rajendra Chola by Ministry of Culture. These would be the events that would take place in this festival. Now, some key features of this festival or some key points about this festival, they are very important for you to remember, because remember, art and culture is also part of your syllabus. Therefore, any festival, cultural event, all of this is part of your syllabus, and if that cultural event is in the news, it becomes all the more important for you. Okay, so some key aspects, some ritualistic aspects of this festival. So during this festival, temple worship takes place. Okay, devotees visit Shiva temples where special pujas are performed for Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati. Fasting is done, especially by women. Women traditionally observe a fast on this day, praying for the well-being of their husbands and a good married life. Okay, so this is the cultural aspect. And many cultural events take place because, as I said, Tamil Nadu government, the state government, treats it as a state event. Okay, the festival often features traditional art forms like Bharatnatyam, Karakatam, Silambattam, as well as chanting of Devaram, Tirumurai, hymns, and Tirukuttu street plays. Remember these names. Tirukuttu is a street play form of that depict the emperor's achievements. Okay, so this is all you need to know about the ritual aspects, and all the information with respect to this particular festival is given in your notes. So do memorize your notes. Okay, remember these keywords. Questions can be asked, MCQs can be asked. By the way, some extra information about this UNESCO site, UNESCO World Heritage Site, Brihadeswara Temple of Gangaikonda Cholapuram, not Thanjavur, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, is also given in your notes. So some extra information about this particular temple is also given, Gangaikonda Cholapuram, built by or built under the patronage of Rajendra I. Okay, so do memorize this. Memorization is important, as I mentioned during the first part of this lecture, okay, or during the initial part of this lecture. All right, now let's talk about the mighty imperial Cholas. Let's focus on the contributions, cultural contributions, naval contributions, maritime contributions, administrative contributions, a lot of contributions of imperial Cholas. So let's talk about imperial Cholas. Okay, so like I said before, well, Cholas, do not confuse these Cholas with the Cholas of Sangam age, the ancient history. Okay, well, that was a different time, and they were not emperors back then, they were chieftains, similar to Cheras, Pandyas. Okay, but during this time, they became very, very important. Okay, imperial Cholas started their rule from 9th century CE to around 12th, 13th century CE. Okay, and how did they start? They were basically feudatories, feudal lords under Pallavas. Feudal lords under Pallavas. Pallavas was also a very solid dynasty of South India. So they were feudal lords of Pallavas, but then they rose to power. subduing Pallavas and becoming emperors themselves. Okay, who started all of this? So Imperial Cholas. The Imperial Cholas ruled from 850 to 1200 CE, establishing a vast thalassocratic empire. Now, this is a very important keyword. You're learning a new word today. So what is thalassocratic empire, or what is thalassocracy? Thalassocracy. So thalassocracy is that type of rule which is basically established through maritime component. You understand? An empire that has a lot of that is basically established through maritime dominance, naval dominance, is a thalassocratic empire or is a thalassocracy. Thalassocracy. So like democracy is rule of people, thalassocracy is rule of maritime dominance. And Cholas were navy experts, naval experts. Okay, we have talked about this. Okay, so you're remembering a new word. You are basically learning a new word today. Remember this word because UPSC might confuse you. Okay, so it was a thalassocratic empire, navy-based empire, centered in southern India with control over much parts of South India, of course, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and parts of Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand as well. Okay, during Rajendra Chola, well, they were a force to be reckoned with. Okay, now they started as minor chiefs in Urayur under Pallavas. Like I said, they were feudatories under Pallavas. The Cholas rose to power in 9th century under Vijayala Chola. Okay, Vijayalaya Chola. He was the first ruler in this imperial Chola dynasty. Okay, the Vijayalaya Chola founded this imperial line by capturing Thanjavur from Muttarayars amid Pallava Pandya conflicts. So he captured, rose to power. During Pallava Pandya conflicts, both of them were subdued and Cholas rose to power. They are renowned for their advanced administration, temple architecture, powerful navy that facilitated overseas expeditions. Some people can say they were the first colonizers also. India had colonies, okay? Cholas basically had colonies. Like the Brits had colonies, French had colonies, Cholas had colonies, okay? They were that powerful. Now, we have discussed Chola administration, okay? So we have some basic facts when all of this started, okay? We have discussed this portion also, Chola administration. Their entire territory was divided into provinces, mandalams. In the previous lecture only, we have discussed this. Then sub-provinces, districts, village groups, and village. Basic unit of administration, villages. And Brahmadaya villages, well, were ruled by Sabha. And non-Brahmin villages were ruled by village assemblies, Ur. Okay. Provinces, typically 8 or 9, governed by viceroys who were members of royal families. They collected taxes also, a lot of taxes. But the most famous taxes that you have to remember, because questions can be asked from these two taxes, were Veti, a form of forced labor. Labor was taken from you in the form of tax. So this, and land revenue, Kadamai. Okay, so this is their territorial administration. Now let's talk about their key rulers, key kings. So like I said, the first king was Vijayalaya Chola, okay, founder who made Thanjavur the capital and built a Durga temple there. Okay, so the first king, Vijayalaya Chola, he established the capital of Thanjavur and built a Durga temple there. Then we are talking about important kings. Remember, that doesn't mean Aditya the First was the son of this. It is not a proper chronology. It's the important rulers. Okay. Then another important ruler was Aditya the First, defeated Pallavas, annexed Tondai Mandalam, conquered Maldives, navy, again, thalassocracy, expanded into Kannada regions. Then Parantaka the First conquered Sri Lanka and defeated Rashtrakut in the Deccan. Then came the two father-son greats. The father-son duo that took the Chola Empire to its peak, and that was Rajaraja the First, extended empire to Tungabhadra Delta, okay, river, conquered northern Sri Lanka, built Brihadeswara temple in Tanjavur. So remember I told you kind of there are two Brihadeswara temples. So one in Tanjavur that was built by Rajaraja the First, and then another temple, Brihadeswara temple, it's also called Brihadeswara temple or Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple, was built in Gangaikonda Cholapuram by Rajendra the First. Rajendra the First took it to another level, okay? Led northern expeditions to Ganges. He even raided Ganga Valley from South India, okay? Annexed Sri Lanka, strengthened naval power for Southeast Asian influence. Okay, this was the state of their empire. So as you can see, the red portion over here is actual Chola rule. Then the yellow portion is, well, those kingdoms which were under Cholas or Chola influence, which means Cholas would decide what would be the who would be the king of this area, I mean, Cholas were kind of the overlords. So red is Chola Empire and yellow is Chola influence. Chola influenced everything in these areas. And you can see the territories go as far as Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, everywhere. The Indonesian kingdom was known as Sri Vijaya Kingdom back then. Okay, even the Deccan, Western Chalukyas. So that was the might of their empire, and their might was sustained through navy only. As you can see, that is why thalassocracy. Thalassocracy. Okay. Now about their naval might, the empire peaked around 1030 CE, encompassing Tamil regions, Deccan territories, Telugu land, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Malay Peninsula, Indonesia, everywhere. Boundaries reached the Tungabhadra River against Chalukyas with naval dominance colonizing Southeast Asia. Rajaraja Chola established a powerful navy, further strengthened by Rajendra Chola. Okay, famous ports for trade as well as naval bases were Mahabalipuram, Kaviripattanam, okay, and Korakal. My pronunciation can be off the mark. Please forgive me for this. Okay. Now, few small information about the Chola rule. The economy, Imperial Chola economy was primarily agrarian, okay, centered on fertile Kaveri Delta with land revenue as the main source of income, supplemented by taxes on trade because trade also flourished during that time, okay, tributes, forest, mining, everything. Maritime trade flourished through ports like Nagapattinam, Kaviripatnam, Korakai, trade in spices, pearls, textile, betel nuts, precious stones, all the way to Southeast Asia, okay, China even. Artisanal sector thrived like textiles, metallurgy, coin minting, shipbuilding, everything. Revenue collection was also there. Okay, revenue collection was also, the power of revenue collection was decentralized. It was also given to village assemblies. Okay, and then the most important contribution is their cultural legacy. Okay, architectural legacy, literature legacy, sculpture legacy. So imperial Cholas left a profound cultural legacy through patronage of Dravidian architecture, Dravidian temples, Dravidian style of architecture in temples. Okay, because North Indian temples were basically Nagara form, Nagara architectural style. Deccan Plateau followed Vesara mixture, and South India followed Dravidian form of temple architecture. So they were the apex patronizers. Okay, Tamil literature, bronze iconography, bronze sculpture making, especially the Nataraj image, Shaivite devotion transforming temples into hubs of worship, economy, education. Architecture-wise, there are 3 UNESCO sites. Okay, one is Brihadeswara Temple of Thanjavur, Rajaraja I, Gangaikonda Cholapuram Temple, which was built by Rajendra I, and Ereteshwara Temple. Ereteshwara Temple is again in Thanjavur, built by Rajaraja II. He was in 12th century, okay, later Chola rulers. Ereteshwara. So first 2 temples are dedicated to Lord Shiva, and the last temple, Ereteshwara, that is dedicated to Airavat, the elephant of Lord Indra. Some of you who are familiar with Indian mythology know Lord Indra, the king of gods, okay, his elephant, Airavat, for that, dedicated to that, okay. Sculpture making, well, bronze sculpture making is something that everyone remembers Cholas for. Okay, bronze casting peaked with lost wax technique. Remember this name. They used lost wax technique to build immaculate sculptures of bronze. The most famous one is Nataraj image. Then literature, Tamil literature flourished during their rule. Tamil literature flourished with Kamban's Ramavataram epic, Shaiva texts like Tevaram hymns. Okay, supported by temple schools teaching Ved, math, medicine, everything flourished because economy flourished because there was political stability and flourishing trade during their rule. Okay, so this is all you need to know as far as the mighty imperial Cholas are concerned. By the way, some extra information is given in your notes. Okay, number one is, well, a detailed overview of the 3 UNESCO sites, which Brihadeswara Temple, Tanjavur, Gangaikonda Cholapuram Temple, and Ereteshwara Temple. Okay, well, these 3 UNESCO sites, information about them is given. The other information is, well, this year in 2025, Tamil government, on the occasion of this festival, the anniversary of Rajendra I, Tamil government announced that they are going to renovate and restore Chola Gangam Lake, which is also known as Puneru Lake. Chola Gangam Lake. This Chola Gangam Lake was built by Rajendra I and he brought water from Ganges River. Okay, so basically some religious ritual, and this is India's biggest man-made artificial lake built by Rajendra I. Tamil government has said that we will restore it on this occasion of this festival. Okay, so some information about Cholagangam Lake, 3 UNESCO sites, it is given in your notes. So do memorize it. And in your notes, in the end, a small paragraph is given with respect to decline of imperial Cholas after 12th century. So go through that as well, because an MCQ can be asked from there as well. Okay, and that would be all. With that, we conclude the topic of mighty Cholas. And let me remind you, there is a very high chance that they would ask an MCQ from this topic. So make sure that you follow all the 4 steps. Watch the lecture, memorize it from the notes, ask your doubts, and give the test. It's very important. Okay. On that note, I would conclude today's lecture. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. I'm sure about it. Just be regular and consistent, and you will definitely clear this time's prelims examination. Just be regular and consistent and follow these 4 steps. Okay, I'll conclude today's lecture with the promise of seeing you again with another topic in this lecture series called Prelims Powerplay. Thank you, everyone.